Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillahi wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. One of the main reasons of choosing this topic, questions of the grave, is because of its importance. As all of us know that as our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says that al-qabru awwalu manazil lil-akhirah. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that the grave is the first step towards the akhirah. First steps toward the akhirah. If that step is good and correct, and if you pass in that stage, then every stage after that will be easy, inshallah, until you go to Jannatul Firdausul A'la. And we pray here to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala count all of us among those who go to Jannatul Firdausul A'la. And Allah make the path of Jannah easy for all of us. And if that steps goes wrong, or something got missed over there or messed over there, at that time a person will be a loser. He'll be in big trouble. You can understand that the Sahaba radiallahu ta'ala anhum, they used to read the Quran, and we know about them that when they recite the Quran, they ponder a lot. They ponder a lot to the extent that they cry, and sometimes the whole night they just repeat one ayah only. Whole night, one ayah. They are just repeating, pondering the meaning, and thinking about the responsibility, thinking about the Jannah, thinking about the Akhirah, and whole night just crying and spending whole night. But Uthman radiallahu ta'ala an, one of his slaves, he says that whenever he sees any grave, he cries. He cries so much so that he cries more than when he cries while he was reciting the Quran. He just cries and he cries. So he wondered that he recites the Quran, and at that time he doesn't cry as much as he cries when he sees the grave. So he asked that, Uthman, why you cry to the extent that your whole beard get wet? And you read about the Jannah, you read about the hellfire, and you don't cry this much. But why at this stage? Why? So Uthman radiallahu ta'ala an, he replied and he said, Inna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam qal, he says, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam has said, Inna al-qabr awwalu manazil al-akhirah. Indeed, the grave is the first step towards the akhirah. First step towards the akhirah. And then he says, فَإِن نَجَى مِنْهُ فَمَا بَعْدَهُ أَيْسَرُ مِنْهُ. If anybody is safe and successful in that grave, the first step, whatever will come after that, it will be easy. Whatever come after that, there are some of the things coming where when we reach, we won't believe like how we are going to cope at that day. Everybody will say, myself. Nobody will bother about others, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes that the father will run away from children. Children will run away from parents. Wife and husband will run away from each other. And everybody, and to the extent that if a pregnant woman is there, she will lose her pregnancy out of the fear of the day of judgment. But if in your grave, if you are successful, فَمَا بَعْدَهُ أَيْسَرُ. So whatever after that, it will be easy. So that's why Uthman radiallahu ta'ala used to cry. And then he says, وَإِن لَمْ يَنْجِ مِنْهُ فَمَا بَعْدَهُ أَشَدْ. If somebody does not get easy at that time or success in the grave, then whatever is coming after that, it will be very severe. It will be really, really severe. And then the Prophet, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said that I did not see any scene, any scenario in the life or any event of the life, but the grave is the most worst of all of them. So that's why Uthman radiallahu ta'ala an used to cry a lot at that time. And what is going to happen in the grave? There are many hadiths of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in detail explain what is going to happen in the grave. And some of the you can understand how severe it is from the du'as of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. As the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the du'a, very famous du'a, he used to make, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-kasli wal-harami wal-maghrami wal-ma'athim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I seek your protection from being lazy. From being lazy. And from getting to the age, old age, that I become childish. This is another problem. This is the dua of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Getting loan, debt upon debt, and I seek your protection from that. From the sins, I seek your protection. And then he says, وَمِنْ عَذَابِ النَّارِ, and I seek your protection from the punishment of the hellfire. وَمِنْ عَذَابِ الْقَبْرِ, and I seek protection from the punishment of the grave. If you see all the du'as which ask the protection, you will find this adab al-qabr over there. The Prophet ﷺ has taught us the dua, one of the dua which most of us read in tashahhud, at the end of the tashahhud, and we seek the protection of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the punishment of grave. Sahaba asked about the Prophet ﷺ about the grave. So one day the Prophet ﷺ went to the graveyard, and while they were digging the grave and the body was there, the Prophet ﷺ sat down, and he has a stick in his hand, just a branch of the tree, small tree, and he was just marking on the floor. And then the Prophet ﷺ explained to them what is going to happen in the grave. The Prophet ﷺ said, when a good person dies, the angels come to him. Angels come to him with the kafan of Jannah. And they come and they take his ruh with nicest manner, with the easiest manner, even though the one who sees, he might not see in that manner. But for the one who is dying, it is easy, he will be happy. It will go very smoothly, as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, it will come out from his body as the water comes out from the jug. So very smoothly, without any huddle, without any problem, it will come out. And then they will carry him. And they will carry him, and their sight will be on that person's ruh, which they will take out from the good person. And wherever they go, everybody will ask. They will go to the heavens. So everybody will ask. They will ask, who is this person? Who is this person who has this great smell coming out of him? Who is this person? So they are going to start speaking to the person with the good names. You know the good names which we call each other in this world? One of the way of checking ourselves, how we fit, think about what people call us. If the people are always attributing us with the evil, with the bad things, so then there is a problem. If they are praising you in your back, so that means you have the good name. So they will shout with those good names, and everybody will describe him with the goodness and goodness, and everybody will say, welcome, welcome, until he will reach to the seven heavens, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask, who is this person? He is so and so, and he is this, all are his good attributes. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, place him to write his name in Illiyin, in the seventh heaven. Put his name in Illiyin, and then he will be returned into the grave. When he will return into the grave, his ruh will come out, and then he will be in the grave. At that time, the Prophet ﷺ said, angels will come. And then the angels will ask these questions. Man Rabbuka? Who is your Lord? Wa ma dinuka? And what is your religion? Wa madha taqul? And what do you say about the person who was sent among you? What do you say about him? So then, if the believer is there, he will straight away say, okay, my Lord is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, my deen is Islam, and he was the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So then he will, how do you know this? كيف عرفت? How do you know these answers? So he will say, قرأت القرآن وعملت به. I recited the Quran and I acted upon it. I practiced the Quran. That's why I know the answer. So one of the link here in this hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if we don't understand it, we won't be able to answer over there. This is one of the most important things. Many people, anybody can say, who is your Lord? My Lord is Allah. Even Munafiq used to say in the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You say La ilaha illallah Muhammad, everything. But will they be able to say answer there? No. No. So there is a belief in that. We'll come to details in that. And then the Prophet ﷺ explained about the evil person. And then he said the evil person, when the angels will come to him, they will bring the shroud for him from the hellfire. The kafan from the hellfire. Very smelly. And then they will start taking his ruh out. So when they will be taking his ruh out, the ruh will be stick to him inside as the cloth stick to the thrones. When they will pull it very hardly. So very painful it will come out. Even though a person, one of us will see, oh, his ruh is going, he died in very peacefully. Even though we will see that one, but to him, it will be one of the worst scenario. And then they will take and they will wrap it, and wherever they go in the heavens, they will say, oh, who is this nasty person? Very nasty smell coming. Who is this person? Everybody will dislike. So they will remember him. They will say, he is son of that person, and they will remember him, all his evil names which people used to call him in this world. All evil attributes people used to attribute to him. And then he will be taken above, and then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala write his name in down underneath of seventh earth. In asfal safilin, among those who are the worst creature of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, write his name there, and then he will be thrown, and then he will be thrown into the back in the grave. And then the angels will come and ask the same question. If anybody knew in this world what was the answer, and he was not reciting it, understanding it, practicing it, he would say, oh, I had said what people used to say, but now I don't know. And he will just say, ha ha, his tongue will be stuck. He will not be able to move that tongue at that time. He has no, so they will say, you did not read, you did not understand, you did not practice, and then the punishment will start. For the person who is in the Jannah, who have answered, what will happen to him? They will say, all right, frishu lahu min al-Jannah. Start making bed for him from the Jannah. Bring the food for him from the Jannah. And a window from the Jannah will be open in his grave. And the person will be in very nicest position, and then he will see one angel is coming to him. And when he will see his face, he will just straight away recognize that, oh my God, this person's face is the best ever face I have seen. So he must be coming with good intention. So he will say, oh, who are you? Welcome, welcome. Your face looks with goodness. So what goodness, good news you have brought for me? So he will say, oh, I am your slave. I am your slave. I am your good deeds. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has turned the good deeds in me, and I am here to serve you. And he will serve him. For the evil person, same thing, opposite to this one. They will say, okay, put him a bed from the hellfire. And then food from the hellfire. Clothes from the hellfire. And a person will come to him and he will be shocked and he will say, oh my God, this person who is coming, he is coming with evil intention. The worst face I have ever seen. He is the one, he is coming to me. And then he will say, who are you? So he will say, oh, don't worry, I am your deeds. I am your bad deeds which you used to do in earth. Allah has converted them into me, and I am here to punish you. And he will continuously punish until the day of judgment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. Something I want to bring in our attention. Many people say, oh, we don't even, when we put in the grave, we don't see anybody, any sign of Jannah, any sign of the hellfire there. How is this person? And then they started questioning about this sort of hadith and the ayats of the Quran. And they say, oh, okay, so that doesn't make sense. So we are not going to believe. So first thing, a believer is the one who believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala while we do not see Allah. Without seeing Him, we believe in Allah. So we believe in ghaib. Okay, so whatever Allah has commanded us, we have to believe in it. So this is umurul ghaibiyya. We don't see it, but this is unseen, we believe it, because Allah and the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said it. But if, for example, some of the scholars has given few examples just to understand. So one of the example is, like, for example, I'm sleeping and my wife is sleeping next to me. or I'm reading and she's sleeping next to me, and all of a sudden she woke up. And when she woke up, I have seen her face full of sweat. Her heart beating is going very fast. And I'd say, are you okay? What happened? She said, oh, I had a nightmare. What happened? Oh, somebody's trying to kill me. And I was running. All right, just stop a second. You are next to her. Have you seen her running? No, you didn't see. Did you see anybody was trying to kill her? No, you didn't see. But can you feel that her heart beating was fast? Did you feel that whatever she's saying, it happened to her? And she was feeling at that, and then whole face changed, pale, and then all sweat. It happened. But do you know while you are next to her? No, you don't know. So these are the umur al-ghayb. So yes, they say, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, we believe in it. So maybe something like this is going to happen in the grave. We don't know. Allah knows best. Allah knows best. Because we believe in Allah, so when we believe Allah, so whatever comes, we will accept it. And there are many more explanation ulama has given. So this was a little bit about the grave and the answers of the grave. Before we move forward, this whole series is based on a book, Thalathatul Usool. There are two books. One book is called Usool ath-Thalatha, and another is called Thalathatul Usool. They both mean three principles, and these three principles are these three answers of the grave. So a very famous scholar and the Mujaddid, Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, he wrote this Risala. It's a very, very small book and a booklet, so it's really nice to memorize it whole. I'm not going to go word for word for that one, but the whole theme has brought from that book, inshallah. And mainly the reference to that one is Sheikh Saleh al-Sheikh, one of the great scholars of his time. So he did the explanation of that one, and Sheikh Usaymin rahimahullah, he had given another explanation. So, and Sheikh bin Baz rahimahullah. So based on those explanation, our series will be, inshallah. Now, before we move forward, I would like to throw a question to you, all of you. What is the shortest surah in the Quran which gives us a clear methodology how to live on earth to be a successful and not loser? Okay, one hand here. Anybody and sisters? Two hands, three hands, four hands. So mashallah, many brothers here. Okay. Anybody from this group? Young lads? Anybody? Yes, okay, wait. I will ask you. Anybody, sisters? Even? Alright, okay. You go on, Mustafa Hazrat?
Surah Al-Asr.
Surah Al-Asr. Yes, Jazakallah khair. Surah Al-Asr. Okay, Surah Al-Asr, it gives us four principles. It gives us four principles. And these four principles, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, wal asr, by the time. So one thing we learned today is that it is suitable for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to swear by anything of His creation. This is suitable for Allah. But as far as it concerned to the human being, for the Muslims, we are not allowed to swear by anybody except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not even to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or not even mum or dad. No, only if you have to do by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nothing else. So this is, if you do something like that, if you swear by other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it might fall under those things which will make you mushrik. You commit shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So one of the Sahabi radiallahu ta'ala, when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam stopped him from swearing other than Allah, he was so he gives so much importance to that one, that whenever he even narrates that somebody has swear by other than Allah, he would not say that. So he was that much conscious about it, because the punishment is very, very severe and very close to very close to fall into the shirk. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us. So this is one thing. Wal-asr. Innal insana lafi khusr. Indeed, human beings are in loss. So there are two things. Human beings are in loss. In loss in terms, when somebody was born, he was born with a specific time, fixed time. So every second we are passing, we are losing our life. So we are the losers in that sense. Okay. Another thing, in general, in terms of aqidah, in general, everybody is in loss. Every human being is in loss. Then, إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Then the exceptions come. Except those who believe. Those who believe. وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ. Do righteous deed. وَتَوَاسُوا بِالْحَقِّ. Do the dawah work. وَتَوَاسُوا بِالصَّبْرِ. And have patience. So these 4 principles of the religion. This is the shortest description Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran for being successful. Now, today we are just going to talk about these 4 principles and a little bit explanation how we are going to have our future dars, inshallah. So these 4 principles, at least every one of us should know in little bit detail. Don't be the experts. Everybody is not supposed to be the alim. He cannot be. So the ulama are ulama. But as a Muslim, the basic and fundamental knowledge about these 4 principles have to be there. If you don't know this, then there will be a big problem because you might fall among the losers. To give the answer in the grave properly, you need to have this information. Least. And more than that is the work of ulama. If you want to do this فَبِهَا وَنِعْمَةً. Yes, you should do it. But at least this thing. Okay. So this is the minimum obligation. The first is Iman. When we say the Iman, what is the meaning of Iman? Can anybody tell me what is the meaning of Iman here? Anybody like who believe? So what he has to believe? Muslims might believe in one manner and they will say, okay, we believe. Among the Muslims, there are so many different divisions and the groups among the Muslims. Everybody believe in a different manner. Will we count all of them are the believers? So the first thing comes to the knowledge. So in this belief, first thing comes to the knowledge. The knowledge, then again this knowledge goes in details. What sort of knowledge we have to have. Inshallah, we'll come to that one and how we should gain it. We'll come to that one detail. So this the first fundamental is the knowledge. We have to learn the knowledge. And then the second one is the actions. And the third one is the da'wah. And the fourth one is the sabr. Now when it comes to knowledge, then it goes to the 3 questions which we are talking about. The questions of the grave. And we will go in much details about that. That is about knowledge about Allah, knowledge about Islam, and knowledge about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you have this knowledge, this is the first step to be able to answer in the grave. If anybody have problem in this knowledge, Allah have mercy upon him. We don't know what is going to happen to him. But the zahira, outwardly we say, he will be in trouble. So this knowledge is really important. And for us as Ajamis, non-Arabic people, it's really crucial to understand this. Why? Because Arab, when they understand the Quran, they understand the background meaning of it as well. So that's why when the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam came and he started giving them the teaching of Tawheed, so what they said? Straight away, oh, have you made this many all different gods into one God of Muhammad? So they understood what is the meaning of Tawheed. Straight away they understood what Prophet ﷺ was calling to. But for us, many of us, we don't understand this background information. That's why even though we call ourselves Muslim, but many of us have the actions which the people of Jahiliyyah at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, people of Quraysh, they used to do. We still have that. So that's why we need to understand it in much more better manner. So this is knowledge about Allah, knowledge about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and knowledge about Islam. And it comes to then amal. Inshallah, the next series will be about the amal in much more details. So when we do the amal, so if you don't do the amal, sometimes you commit kufr. If you don't do the amal, sometimes you become kufr. Sometimes you fall into the major sins. And sometimes it is dislike, makruh. And sometimes it is mustahab to leave. Mustahab means it is likely that if you don't do that, there is no problem. If you do it, it's okay. But if you don't do it, then you won't have the sin. So it's mustahab, okay to do it. So the amal goes into these 4 categories. Let's take the first one. If you don't do it, then you become the kafir. Can anybody give the example of that one? If you don't do the action, you go out of the... Yes?
Taraka salah, like leaving the prayer.
Alright, tarkus salah, very good answer. But tarkus salah, yeah, there is a big debate about it, okay? So, what I am saying, kharij min al-millah, means he will not be considered as a Muslim. Okay? So, what would be the answer then?
Shirk.
Shirk. You don't believe in Tawheed, or you have a big problem in your Tawheed. So that is the kufr. So this is the action. If you don't do it, you become straight away out of the fold of Islam. This is kufr. Okay. Kabair. Some of the actions. Kabair. Anybody about kabair? What is the kabira? You don't do that, and then, or you do the, sorry? Salah. Kabair. If you don't do it, kabair. Or if you do it, then you will fall into the kabair as well. Alcohol. Kabair. All the 7 categories of alcohol, those who buy, those who sell, those who transport, everybody in that process, they are. Riba. Okay, makruh. Disliked actions. Anybody? Like for example, in the salat, sometime it's sunnah to do something, but you don't do it. So that is makruh. Okay, dislike, you do. Okay, so that sort of things. And then mustahab. Mustahab is okay. If you do it, you'll get reward. If you don't do it, there is no problem in it. It is the adat of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the habits of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. For example, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to love wearing white clothes. If you wear white clothes, following the sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you'll have the reward. If you don't do it, will you be a sinner? No, you will not be a sinner. It is mustahab. Okay, if you do, you will get. If you don't do, there is no problem. Is it clear? Okay. Then it will go in many more categories and many more stages, and how to find that. Inshallah, when we will come to that one, we'll speak about it. Okay. Now let's take the da'wah, the third one. So we have the knowledge, we acted upon the knowledge, and now the da'wah. The fourth one is the da'wah. Da'wah normally, in terms of responsibility, sometimes it is wajib, it is fard, and sometimes it is mustahab. When is wajib and when is mustahab? Okay, there are much more details, we'll come to that one. But one of the wajib, some of the great scholars have said, when you are in minority, if you are in minority, and if you don't invite people towards Islam, then you'll be a sinner. Because at that time, when you are in minority, it is wajib upon you to do the da'wah work. So we all are in minority. We have to keep this understanding properly. We are in minority in this country, and da'wah is wajib on us. And the details, inshallah, it will come on its own time, inshallah. And then sometimes it's mustahab. You do it, okay, some of them do it, okay, otherwise, no problem. It's mustahab sometimes, when we are in majority. So we can see something else. Okay. In terms of dawah means just standing and giving the lectures. No, dawah can be anything. Whatever you have the knowledge and whatever you are practicing, in any form you want to convey that one, you can convey that one. And everybody have some skills. Everybody have some skills. For example, somebody can speak. Yes, he can do that dawah. Somebody is very good in one-to-one speaking to the people. That's really good. Somebody can write. That's really good as well. Somebody can use the social media. That's yes. Somebody can make the videos and things. Just in any manner, whatever Allah has bestowed upon you with the skills, you should utilize that. So this is to be safe on the day of judgment, and to be the safe in the grave. You have to do this. Okay. Now, the last one comes the patience. Patience again it has three categories, and it is also in itself is a huge, big subject. We, inshallah, if Allah gives permission, we'll have that one as well, patience at the end. The patience, again, it's mainly divided into three categories. The patience to do the ita'ah, to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to be obedient to Allah, you have to have the patience. This is one. The second one, to leave the sins, to be away from the sins. This is another. And ma'siyatillah. So leaving the ma'siyah of Allah, this is another one. And the third one is ala aqdarillah, upon the decree of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whatever Allah has decreed, you have to have patience. People of Rohingya, they are suffering. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on them and all the Muslim ummah around the world. We have to have the patience. This is the qadr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It does not mean we don't reflect and correct ourselves. No, we do it. But we are pleased with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's decree. So these three categories, and then it has subcategories and many different things, and each patience will have its own value. Okay, but in general, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a lot of virtue to those who have the patience. So it starts with the prophets. When you give the dawah, prophet, lot of time we start giving dawah because some brother has said something, we get upset and we don't want to get involved in that. Or I'm really away from it. Why? Because I didn't like the attitude of that brother. No, brother, you have to have the patience. You have to have the patience. Yes, whatever skills you have to carry on with it. You cannot just make this excuse that this brother has done this brother, so I'm not going to do this. No, you have to have the patience and do the work. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, فَاصْبِرْ كَمَا صَبَرَ أُولُو الْعَزْمِ مِنَ الرُّسُلِ. Have patience as the ulul azm, the most honorable anbiya, the messengers had the patience. All of them have the patience. So we have to have lots of patience. And then the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, when you have the patience, one of the example he gave, when you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for dua, that time also you have to have the patience. So you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the dua. So when you are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the dua, so a person says, oh, I have been making dua, but Allah doesn't listen to me. That means you don't have the patience. The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, وَلَكِنَّكُمْ قَوْمٌ تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. But you are the people who just haste and hurry everything. You want everything quickly. No, it's the patience. Have the patience. You make dua to Allah and have the patience. So these are a couple of things about the patience. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, إِنَّمَا يُوَفَّى الصَّابِرُونَ أَجْرَهُمْ بِغَيْرِ حِسَابٍ. Those who have the patience, they will have the reward without any limit on the day of judgment with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So have to have the patience. So here, in terms of da'wah, because most of us are involved in da'wah, so remember brothers, if anybody getting upset with anybody, or something is happening, you don't like some of the things, you don't leave everything and say no. You have to have patience, work with the brothers, or at least you do work on your own. But you cannot just go away from it by making these excuses, because this is one of the fundamentals of Iman. Here, one of the points I want to bring, that when we say we have to have the Iman, does it not mean that Iman means amal as well, acting as well? When you have the Iman, you have to act as well. Then why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned it separately? That you have to have the Iman, the knowledge, and then the action, then the da'wah. It does not mean everything. Yes, it means everything. But still, why these four different categorized things are mentioned? Because of its importance. If one thing is missing, then there will be a problem. If one thing is missing, there will be a problem. So everything, this is linked to the answer of the grave. Remember this. Everything is linked to the answer of the grave. If you want the answers to be very smoothly, so you must have the knowledge about this. Minimal knowledge as a Muslim. A Muslim cannot be ignorant. Remember this. At least he should have these fundamentals. If he has these fundamentals, inshallah, he will be successful in this dunya and akhirah. So before we finish today's session, inshallah, just listen this quote from Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah about this surah. He says, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have revealed this surah, Surah Al-Asr, not the whole Quran, only this surah, lakafat, it would have been enough. Enough for our success in this world and hereafter. No need for repetition, because this is a comprehensive surah. It has 4 simple principles. If we apply this in our life, that we will be successful, inshallah. So we stop here, and the next one, inshallah, because there will be some writing and some understanding. So we know Allah, we know Messenger, and we know about the deen, but what does it mean by believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is one of the important things. Everybody believes in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everybody believes in, every Muslim believes in Allah. But if I ask anybody to stand and say about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how long we can say? I'll always ask this question. You just stand in front of the mirror and start saying about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Believe me, after 4 or 5 sentences, you will repeat the first one again. You will just repeat again and again those things. We don't know what to say. We say, oh, he's the most powerful, he's most hearing, he's this, he feed me and my dad and my mom. You know, we don't have that in-depth knowledge. So you have to have that in-depth knowledge about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The minimal one I'm talking about, okay? About Allah. And then similarly, about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What must we know about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? And about Islam. So these are few things we must know. So before we finish, remember, the first thing is knowledge. And in Islam, the knowledge is placed on very high position. Very, very high position. You know, when we came here, either we drive, or we walk, or we take lift, or whichever way we came to the masjid to learn. Just to understand the reward, as the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, on the way, as many as trees you have passed, as many as trees, every leaf of the tree will make dua for talibul ilm, those who seek the knowledge. Every leaf he'll make the dua. Every creature you have passed, that make dua. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, if anybody travels through the sea, so all the animals of the sea, the fishes, they will make dua for him. And he says, even the ants in their own holes, they will make dua for the talibul ilm. So it's a lot of virtue. Lot of virtue. And then the Prophet ﷺ said, when any people gather to learn the knowledge, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the angels of Allah, they shade upon them. And Allah sent the rahmah and mercy and tranquility upon them. So this all going to happen, and moreover, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remember them among them who are better than us. So this all virtues, keep in mind, and inshallah the coming durus will be very, very important. And to make the notes, please make sure you bring something. It is not just a lecture booster, same time it is learning some fundamental and some strong knowledge, inshallah, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant me and all of you tawfiq, and whatever was right and correct, it was from Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If it was something wrong, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the effect of it from all of our heart. If anybody have very quick question, we'll take it, otherwise we'll stop it, inshallah. So anybody have question, they can raise about this dars, please. So everybody's happy, inshallah. Alright, okay. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khairan. Inshallah, I'll see you next week, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.